How did you get the name Shaka Zulu? Was that what your parents named you Shaka?
That's what my parents named me. My parents allowed their African friends to name me and my brothers. My dad only has three kids. He has three boys. He has Zaire, Kinsasha, and Imijah and Shaka. That's like all our names are mixed in like that. My brother.
Okay.
Phenomenon. Colding.
Dear viewers, we want to make it clear that the content on our channel is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. We do not provide medical advice, and any information shared should not be taken as a substitute for professional medical guidance. It is important to consult with a healthcare provider before making any decisions regarding your health. We do not endorse or promote any medical treatments or procedures, and any discussion of such topics should be viewed as general information only. Please be aware that the information shared on our channel may not always be accurate or up to date. We strive to provide reliable sources and fact check our content, but we are not infallible. It is always a good idea to verify information with reputable sources before making any decisions about your health. Thank you for watching, and please remember to prioritize your health and safety above all else. Thank you.
Hello guys. Hello guys. Welcome back to Life's Deceit with me, your girl Jen Simpson. How are you guys doing? How's your morning, your afternoon, your night, wherever you are in the world? Welcome to my new listeners, my consistent followers. I hope that you guys are having a beautiful week and you guys are feeling blessed and amazing and still giving yourself grace. Guys, today we have an amazing guest, my first male guest. He calls himself Chef Shaka Zulu. Yes, guys, his real and biological name is Shaka Zulu, and he calls himself the chef because he chefs up knowledge. He's here today to give us knowledge on his healing journey, going through cancer, having toxic relationships, being a full time and single father, finding love, getting married, meeting his father for the first time, guys. He has gone through so much in life, but he's a strong tower. He's a speaker. He's not only a speaker, but he's also an artist. He's a rap artist, guys. Guys, I cannot wait for you guys to hear all this juicy things he has to share with us and his healing journey. You know, it's nice when men can come out and talk about the things that they've went through, the things that they've experienced. Be authentic, be themselves, and not be afraid to be vulnerable, transparent, and be honest with us. So, guys, without further ado, let's welcome Shaka Zulu. First of all, let's start off by saying welcome. Thank you, King.
Appreciate you, goddess.
Listen, thank you so much for responding to my message. Thank you for being so open to come on and share some good stuff with listeners and, educate our people, especially Black men.
Thanks.
You are my first male guest, and I'm absolutely excited. And I'm glad that I chose you to be number one.
Hey, I'm super honored. Peace to the gods on earth and the goddesses on earth. I'm super excited to be on your channel, Jen. I appreciate you for reaching out for me, reaching out to me and inviting me. So I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you so much, Shaka. Shaka.
Yes.
So I was on Instagram and I saw your story.
Mm-hmm.
The story alone just got me, but I was like, there's so much more to your story that I want you to share with the
Yes.
world. Because I find that, sometimes you only get to share a little piece, but there's so much more and so many angles that could touch other people's lives in different ways that we don't even understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've been very private about my experiences with my health and everything. I kept it very private. That was like an interview that I was doing, and I was kind of talking about something else, and it went into that. And so I'm
Yeah.
just glad that people would actually want to hear my story. You know what I mean? Because I didn't think nobody wanted to hear it. I was just kind of just doing my own thing and just living my own world. So
You
I'm
know
honored.
what? I'll tell you this. Somebody always not only wants to hear our story, but needs to hear our story.
Right.
Because we forget that there's always somebody else out there going through something similar to ours. or the same thing, and they just need to hear somebody say it that they're going through because they're going through it silently.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And recently, oh my gosh, it's going on 2 years, I think, if not 2 years already. My dad found out he had cancer.
Mm.
So my background's Jamaican,
Okay.
and we heal off of herbs and stuff. Very
Right.
natural, right? But also we're afraid of the doctor.
Right.
That's another thing. I think it's not just Jamaican. I think it's black. Us black people, we don't like to go to the
I
doctor.
think I think there's something in our DNA that tells us we're not supposed to deal with them. We're supposed to
I
heal
think so,
ourselves.
honestly,
We're
because you
supposed
know
to
what the
be our own
funny thing is?
doctors.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Like things will be bothering me, and I won't go to the doctor. I'm like, it'll go away,
Yeah.
and I'll find out later. Hey, you should have paid attention to it because it's something more serious that you could have dealt with.
Definitely. And to add to that, it's always good to just go know what's going on, to go and see what's going on with you. You don't have to take the medication. You don't
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
take it, but they can tell you what's going on. They can give you a good idea of where to start. You
Right,
know what
and
I'm
then you
saying?
go off and
And then you
find
go
your
off on your own, and because that's what I
right,
did essentially. I got the information. Okay, this is what they're going on. Now, how do I get to the core and how do I get to the depth of it so that it doesn't come back? I don't want to
right,
just put a band-aid over it. I want to get to the root of the cause so that I can eliminate the root. But go
right.
ahead.
So
Yeah.
when I saw your story, I was like, my dad put a band-aid on it for since 2019. We're in 2023, and now we're finding out that you have cancer. What are we gonna do? And it hit him so hard. He wasn't expecting it because my dad eats very clean,
Mm-hmm.
but he drinks a lot of alcohol and he smokes a lot.
Mm.
I tell Vital man, nothing can do me. Me good man, Irie. That's my dad, right? So when it hit
Rock
him,
on.
right? So you know what's funny? I like to say that we go through things in life for a reason and a purpose because there's something that needs to come out of it. And what
Absolutely.
I got
Absolutely.
out of it was a father that I was
Mm.
missing from the time that him and my mom divorced when I was 6 years old.
That's
I was
beautiful.
missing that father. I didn't even realize it. My kids got to experience my dad and they enjoyed every part of him.
Mm.
And I feel like if that didn't happen in his life, I would have never got that version of him. Even
Right,
though I
right,
was
right,
always a
right.
daddy's girl, regardless of him being absent, I was still a daddy's girl. Like nobody can tell me nothing about my father. That's my dad, right? So seeing
Right.
your story, it really touched me in a way that I cannot even explain or express in words alone.
Man, that means a lot
And
to me.
and I want you to share your story. Share who Shaka is. Who is Shaka Zulu? You know?
It's a lot to Shaka. I'm a Gemini, so I'm in everything. I'm all over in everything from entertainment, sports to all types of stuff. I'm in every business, entrepreneurship, everything like building people, building myself, building a brand. But before all of that, I was just me. I was just Shaka trying to find myself. And I never really even accepted my name until I got sick.
Right?
Until I didn't even really understand the power of my name until I actually came into the sickness of being unable to be able to heal myself and unable to understand what's going on with my body in those times. And it actually empowered me to embrace not just myself but my name, everything that comes with me as a whole being. And I think it took a lot because like me growing up as a I've got my mom put me out of the house at 16 years old. I wasn't even out of high school yet. She got married and I was on my own since 16. So I've been trying to figure out what it's like to be a man since I was 16 without having a representation in the house or a representation outside of my father. I didn't meet him until I was 20 years old.
Wow.
That was the first time I ever like laid eyes until my brothers tricked me into going to meeting him. They took me to my aunt house. They were like, "Hey, we want to go take you over here to go see the aunt." And this is my first time meeting my aunt, and my dad was there, and I met him. I was 20 years old. I'm just like, it was different.
Wow, I can imagine.
I was already developing into my own self at that time. I didn't want to hear nothing about none of that. It was cool meeting him, and I got to spend a lot of time with him before he passed away. He passed away in 2013 from
Rest
cancer as
his soul.
well.
Yeah.
So he had cirrhosis of the liver from drinking, of course, and so just watching him go through his cancer and everything was an eye opener as well. And not even understand, like, I don't think a lot of people really understand what a cancer even is, or like having something like that, like to the depth of what it really is, like how deep that is, and how like mind blowing something like an experience, like how traumatizing an experience like that can be to somebody.
Yep.
that don't even know anything about the body. And so for me, it was like I needed to know everything about my body. And in 2010, for me, I think this is when I really like put my body through the most stress and the most trauma. And I think this was like one of the most like traumatic experiences I had is when I tried to kill myself in 2010. I was going through a custody battle with my kid's mom. We had been together for 14 years since high school, and this is my first time in a breakup. And she's taking the kids, and she's leaving, so I don't know what to do. So I ended up taking pills. I took like 9 Seroquel pills. Seroquel is like what they give in the psychiatric ward to patients to sedate them. I took one of those is enough to put you to sleep for like a day or two. I took 8 of those, and I drank a whole gallon of liquor behind it. I was talking to the gods. I was trying to have a conversation with them. What is my purpose? What am I here for? Because I didn't understand it. And I was going through so much that I just needed out. I just wanted out of the game. And so I did. And I ended up dying. My neighbor ended up kicking my door in, dragging me in the car, taking me to the hospital. I got there. I was dead on arrival. They had to pump my stomach with charcoal. Activated charcoal. This is my first time even hearing about activated charcoal. I was in the hospital and I was pooping out black tar like stuff. And I'm like, what is this to the nurse? And she's like, that's the activated charcoal that we use to soak up the poison in your body to bring you back. And I was like, whoa, they said I was dead for a minute and 15 minutes. I mean, in 1 minute and 15 seconds, they said I was dead and I was just like, I woke up, I was strapped to the beds, handcuffed, both legs. I had tubes down my mouth, this big old light in my eyes, and I'm just trying to get up. I'm screaming, ah! I'm going through it because the last thing I remember was being in my house, popping these pills and
Ready
passing
to
out.
cross over. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't see no lights. I didn't see nothing. It was just dark. It was peaceful. It was the most peace I think I ever had in my life when
Wow.
I was out. And that right there alone, like I woke up. My father was actually in the hospital when I woke up. My brothers, the whole rap community that I was a part of was in there, and it was like mind blowing to see all these people. And I didn't feel like I was nowhere but just sleep. To
And
me,
matter of fact, if you think about it, you didn't even feel like you were loved when you were trying to take your life and see all these people
oh
surrounding
no no
you.
no, I was so at my lowest point. I had so many people living with me at that time. I kicked everybody out of the house because there was pictures on the walls reminding me of the kids and her. Every day I'm taking stuff off. I'm trying to get my mind just to be free just from that. And it was just so much trauma and it was just traumatic. And she left. But I ended up getting full custody of the 2 girls. The judge awarded me to full custody of the 2 girls. Even after all of that, going through the hospital and everything. My mom coached me through that though. My mom told me not what to say, what not to say in the hospital, what not to do. So she was there for me for that.
So when so let's backpedal a little bit because you
Okay.
explained your mom kicking you out when you were 16,
Yes.
having to learn how to become a man. And I find that especially within the black community, our boys are forced to become men at a young age. No
Right.
guidance, they don't know how to do it. They don't even know really what a man looks like other than what they see on TV. Okay, we grow up, we have all these luxury things, we're making money, and that's it.
Absolutely.
So when your mom kicked you out, what was your relationship like with your mom? Like,
Be
you know,
real, we had a good relationship. That's the crazy part about it. She got married, and her husband was like, "How old are you?" And this was like a couple days after the wedding. He was like, I'm 16. I was still a sophomore, junior in high school, and I had just moved with my mom. I want to go back a little further after this question, after I answered though. But
yeah.
I had just been living with my mom only for 1 year at this time. I moved in with my mom when I was 15. Prior to that, I was living in another situation. I'll tell you about that after this question. But so our relationship was good. We had a great. I never kept anything from mom. I always kept it open with her. But after that situation, it was her husband. Her husband came in. He was like, he was trying to clean house. Everybody got to go. It's just me and your mama. You
Okay.
got to go. He was like, you got 4 days to get all your stuff and get out. She didn't say nothing. She just went with it, and I was just like, I left. I went to my cousin's house. I'm crying. Got over. He like, what happened? I told him what happened. He like, man, listen, I'm gonna teach you what I do, and that's when I got introduced into the street life, and that's when I understood. Okay, I got to take care of myself, and I learned how to take care of myself in the streets. And I was 15, 16 at the time. I was 16, and I was in Atlanta. This was in Atlanta, Georgia, as well. Um, so far back. That's a lot of far ways back.
Right, a lot of memories, right?
Definitely, definitely, definitely. And just talking about it, it's like a breath of fresh air right now because I don't really get to tell a lot of people these stories.
But
But
it shows how far you've come from being 16, being kicked out, and where you are now, right?
right,
You didn't give up.
no,
And a
no,
matter of
I
fact,
did
God
not.
didn't let you go, because even at the moment where you
Even when I
wanted,
tried to give up, it
even when
was
you
like,
tried to give up, He wouldn't
and
let you give.
that's when I knew that there's a greater purpose for me than what I can even understand. And I couldn't understand it back then, but I can understand it now because I see the power that you can have in healing yourself and how that can bring other people life into other people.
Right. So
Yeah.
after being kicked out by your mom, obviously, you have to make money somehow to survive.
I
Cousin,
started hustling.
you started hustling.
I started hustling, and I got good at it really
And
fast.
people would think hustling. We all know what hustling, but what did hustling look like for you as a 16-year-old? And a lot of times we see teenagers now, they all want to be on that grind. They all want to drive that fast car, be in the trap. How
Yeah,
did that
I
look for
was
you?
definitely in the trap. I was definitely in the trap in the
Yeah.
bandos. I was sleeping in hotels, sleeping in friends' house, couch surfing. But I was stacking my money. I bought my first car at 16, at 17. I was in high school still. Before I graduated, I had a car. I was on I had my sister gave me the house after she found out what my mom did. She was getting divorced, so she gave me her house. It was a 3-bedroom house, so I had the house right when I turned 17.
So you had a close relationship with your siblings.
Yeah, yeah, we all still tight. It's 8 of us total. I
Wow.
got 4 sisters and 4 brothers.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
Wow. And when you were going through that, when you were 16, where were your siblings? Were they still at home with
My
your mom?
sisters were in the house, but my brothers were all out of the house already. My 4 sisters were already in the house. Well, 3 sisters. One was older. My older sister lived in Florida at the time. So, but my 3 sisters, they were still in middle school, and they were still in the house. He let them stay because they weren't old enough to leave, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said your mom was there for you when you're going through your custody battle with your children's mother. What did
Yes.
that healing process look like for you and your mom, knowing that she allowed your stepdad to put you guys out of the home and you had to try to build life for yourself at 16 years old?
I know she felt bad. I know it was an experience for her as well, and it was something new for her as well. And I think she was just trying to please her relationship, more than anything. And I think a lot of black women get caught up in a lot of women, period, get caught up in that pleasing the man instead of taking care of the foundation. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And for me, I forgave her immediately. You know what I mean? I didn't hold no grudges. I got out there and I just did what I needed to do, what was necessary for me to be at my to be have my peace and to find my peace in the streets. I I had adopted families. I got adopted friends, and I just realized that your blood is not always gonna be your tribe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you gotta be open to meeting new people. And at that point, after that, I was open to understand why God sends people to me in my presence, and I want to cultivate those relationships so that I can actually utilize those people the way they're supposed to be used. And that's how I treated my mom. It was like, all right, I can use you still, so I don't want to get rid of you.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I kind of found the value in all people at that point. I understood, like, okay, they come to me for a reason. There's a give and take in this relationship before it's either gonna make it or break it.
Right. I agree with that.
And
Now,
so once you go ahead, go ahead.
I know you said that, you forgave her immediately. But for people who have gone through similar situations, mom kicks them out, mom has done some things to them that left them trauma wounds. How do you heal from something like that automatically? Like off the bat, you already just made up your mind that you were gonna forgive her, you're gonna reconnect, you're gonna build a bond with her. How did you just decide to do that right away and actually do it?
I think at that time I had a mindset of I'm gonna do whatever is necessary for my journey for me to be at peace. So I started reading books like The Secret and stuff like that. And those books like transformed me, had me working out, had me running, had me thinking different. And so in that process, it taught me to release hooks, soul ties, release hooks, release the hooks that people have on you when they with their words, with how you value them, how you value their attention, their time, how you value them. And it was to release all of that. The book taught me to release all of those things. and to give it back to myself, to take the power back into myself, so those people could no longer affect me on my journey. And it gave me that. It just empowered me in a way to where nothing could penetrate me once I built myself up in that energy.
I love that because that's not an easy thing to do at all.
No,
It's
it was hard. It came with a
mentally.
lot of sweat, tears, crying. You know what I'm saying? Because not only was I healing, I was healing with two daughters, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and their mom moved to Atlanta, so we were in California, just the three of us. So now, I mean, like back then, I mean, before then, I had, I forgot, I lost track. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. But you mentioned a book, The Secret.
Yes,
Who's that by?
I don't know who it's by. I don't even remember how I got a hold of the book. The book just appeared. I'm telling you, like
I'm
it just
gonna I'm
appeared
gonna
in my
search it
life.
up. I'm gonna search it up and leave it in the caption so other
Yes,
listeners can find it because it sounds like it's an interesting book. And I
it's
feel like
definitely
we're in this season where we're all trying to heal. And it starts in the mind first, right? It's how you recondition your mind and refocus. That
that
book
part.
sounds like that's what helped you to get to now. And
Well,
you
I mean, it
mentioned
was the book, but not only that, I grew up playing sports my whole life. So I always had people pushing me, pushing me, pushing me to be great, to be the best version of myself. I played sport, football, track and field. I was a top athlete in those, what I'm saying, even in high school, even in college, so I was great always. And it was just when that happened with the cancer and just relationships and people not properly training you how to be in this environment. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
People know how to train you how to survive, how to thrive in this environment. And you're just having to figure it out on the fly. As things happen, you kind of just going through them as they happen. And so you're not really like conditioned to understand like how to protect yourself.
yeah,
Because for me, it's all about protection. Like how do I protect myself from the system, from the everything that's around me that's taken from me?
I
And
agree.
as a man, we're not trained properly in no area. We're just trained to go work and give all we have to those that we create. And then that to me was detrimental because that's one thing I learned from being a parent is I'm giving so much out and little back comes back in. And so you have to learn how to pour in yourself as a parent so that you are able to get up and to be that for them, to be that living example, that to walk it in the actions that you want them to be. You have to be able to wake up and be strong enough to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a lot of mental power,
Yeah.
empowerment, and
And support, a lot of support from other people because a lot of times we think we can do it alone. It's
mhm.
not an easy thing to go through alone. You'll be in a
No, it
lot of
wasn't.
dark spaces alone, trying to control your mentality from worldly things, and it's not easy.
Right, right, right. And so for me, I isolated a lot
Yeah.
during those times. I was alone a lot of those times, especially in the streets and hustling. I didn't want nobody else to be affected by my choices as well. And so I always kept myself a secret. I think I got a Scorpio moon or something. I keep all that stuff. I'm very secretive when it comes to stuff like that. And yeah, mind power is the most important thing in the whole journey. I think if you start off young and teach your kids how to develop their mind, how to be creatively tuned, and how to utilize it to benefit them, they don't got to know how to do nothing else.
That's it. That's it. Instilling values and morals and knowledge into our kids. Because we won't
Yeah,
be
once
here,
you
I keep saying, we won't be here forever. What are we leaving them with?
and that was my thing too, and that's where I'm at now with it. His legacy is like, okay, my parents didn't leave nothing for me here. Nobody left anything for me, so it's like I don't want to pass that same thing down. So for me, that's why I've been speaking out and actually letting people and actually taking the interviews and taking the calls because this is my time to live my legacy and to leave my word, even if it's just on social media, because this lives on forever,
Forever.
forever.
That's what people don't
And
realize.
once I understood
Forever.
that concept, it's like I'm gonna be on it. I'm leaving my mark right now as we speak. I'm leaving my footprints so somebody can walk in them.
Yep. You're planting seeds that your
And
kids are
my
going to.
children will be able to find me on this internet. If they haven't found me, they will find me. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Exactly. So, what was it like? So, did you know your father when you're younger? That was like the
No,
first
no, no. I'm telling
time.
you, the first time was 20. I'm like, man, I just walked in the house and he was there.
How was that for you? Like,
It
okay,
was mind blowing because the first thing he said was, "Man, I'm just so glad you're not fat."
how dare
Hey,
he? How
hey, because
dare
he's like,
he?
man, that was my biggest fear. Y'all was gonna grow up to be fat, And I'm like, damn,
How dare he?
because he was this skinny little guy, He was like this skinny little guy with a Jerry curl with a suit on.
Guys, Don't take that comment personal. It's a little humor here, okay? It's a little humor.
Nah, it's all good. They gonna get what they need.
Yeah.
But definitely, yeah,
Honestly,
it was. But it was mind blowing because I'm looking at his features now. I'm like, dang, I got the nose, I got the eye. I started going back into like, cause when I was a kid, I always looked for my dad. Like I don't know if other kids do. I always look for him. Every man I probably looked at, I'm like, is this him?
is it
Is that him? And I did it internally. I never was like, I just would be looking at people like, dang, that could be him.
that could
You
be
know?
him, right? Got the same
I'm
nose, the
looking at
same
the
eye.
features. I'm like, man, he got bread. I hope that's him. He got his life together.
So were you able to get your answer? Your answer. I'm sure you had plenty of questions for him. Like were you able to
I
get them
had a lot
answered?
of questions for him, and I got a lot of answers from him.
Yeah.
I got a lot from him. I actually moved him in with me after a while. Me and my kids' mom, he lived with us. He got to know my kids. He got to be with them. I think he lived with us for like 2 years before he passed away.
Wow.
Took care of him, everything. Yeah, so I actually got to be a parent to him before he
Yeah.
left.
So were you more so happy, that finally I know my father, I have him in my life, or did you kind of have a little bit of resentment and anger towards him for not being around those 20 years of your
You
life?
know what? I was actually thrilled because I didn't take on his habits. I didn't. I was glad that I didn't take on his habits and I didn't have to learn from him
Right.
in that sense. So that made a big difference for me. Yeah,
That's
that made a big difference. And I got to see his habits. You know what I'm saying? I got to see his downfalls. And I just know not to make those my downfalls. I use that as my example to keep me going as well.
and then also you did something else that you didn't even say.
Which part?
You broke a generational cycle
Oh, definitely,
because now
definitely.
you just told us that you fought for your girls.
Yeah, I did. I did. I went to court and I got full custody of them. Yeah, I still have full custody of them. One just graduated last Friday in Atlanta, and the other one is in college already. So, yeah,
You did a great job, Dad.
appreciate you. Thank you. Still
And
going. It's an ongoing job.
I'm waving my hand towards you, and if I was wearing a hat, I would take it off because I salute you seriously.
I
Because it's not
appreciate
easy,
you.
being a single father. Forget single father, being a father alone.
Yes, yes,
It's a
yes. And
big
my friends,
job,
man,
right?
my male friends, they all saluted me like they helped support me, and they were like they felt like they were part of the win with me.
That's a
they
blessing.
they celebrated the win with me as far as just being able to be a man and have your kids, and to
Yeah.
be able to raise them and be able to protect them in the way that I wanted to without having to go through fight with the parent. You know what I'm saying? And then it became when they got a lot older. Me and the mom, and then we all developed a great relationship. So today we all kick it. We all hang together. My wife, my two boys now, my oldest two girls. We all hang out. And we all have a great relationship, and I'm thankful for that as well.
I want to dwell on that for a little bit
Hmm.
because, I feel like people give up too easy in the fight.
Hmm.
And sometimes people think that they're not going to win anyway, so they won't go to court.
Right.
And recently, I saw a video of a gentleman that was complaining that he can't see his daughter.
The phone. Hold on.
And hi, princess. And they're intimidated.
Hmm.
What gave you the strength to go to court and say, I'm going to fight for my girls? I want them to live with me full time. And also, what made you not want them to live with their mother?
Okay, so the reason why I fought was because my all the females in my family, they were pressing me like, you need to go fight for your kid and all this and all that, right? And I'm just like, all right, I'll do it. I'm like, I didn't want to fight because I was still in love with her. I was still in love with it. I was still in love with everything. I wasn't ready for the breakup.
Yeah,
That was the most traumatic part, was I wasn't ready for it. I didn't know how to prepare for something like that. Nobody trained you for that. So it was like
yeah. Nobody trains you
I
for
was
heartbreak.
heartbroken. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't, and that was my first time being heartbroken by a woman. So like,
I'm glad that you're admitting it because sometimes men they don't want to be honest.
nah, I'm here to be honest. I'm here to break the mold. I'm here to break the mold. I'm the first man on the show, so I'm gonna be the one to give it all up.
So would you say that now that you said that, would you say that more so you fought her because you were still in love with her? So you
That
kind of
part too. That was part of it too. Heck yeah, I want her to come back. You're gonna get back. You're gonna fight. We're gonna do this right
so
here, right now.
so you
Absolutely.
figured if
Yes.
you fought for the girl, she would just give in and come back to you.
Yes. And she did not. She was not it. She was not with it. She was like, no. So she hired a lawyer. I didn't even have a lawyer, but what I did do was Okay, so I became a Mason at this time, right? I don't even know if I'm supposed to be telling this, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell it. I had became a Mason, and my brothers came along and they helped me, and they told me exactly what to say and what to do. They prepped me for 3 days,
Wow.
and they set me down in the house. They filled out the help me fill out the paperwork. They went. I had met them in line at the court while I was filling, and one of my brothers he saluted me, and we went and he talked to me, and I told him my situation. He told me he said I got you. Don't trip. Came to his house, sat down, him and a couple other people. We got the paperwork done. Boom, I submitted it. We go to court. I go to court by myself. She has a full on tour attorney, and I win. And the attorney came to me after he caught me after in the parking lot. He shook my hand. He said, "Man, I don't know how you did it, but you did a great job in there." And I just did my research. I just understood child custody laws and understood my laws, my rights, her rights, her rights, and I just went with it. It was also just doing research and just understanding what you're up against and being prepped. Somebody helped me. I was prepped before I went in there.
Well, you know what? Congratulations to that.
And that was a big blessing because it came out of nowhere again. I had just been open to meeting somebody. I had seen him. I had seen him before in the music industry, but did not know his ties in the community. And when he reached out to me in the thing, I was open to receiving him
Yeah.
and what he had to say and what he had to give me. And so I think people need to be more open to people when they come into your bubble, when they come into your circle, your aura. You have to be able to understand what their gifts are for you. Because if they're in
Yes.
your presence, that means they are a present. And you
Right.
just have to know how to unwrap that gift so that you can utilize it for your benefit. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I do with people when they come into me. I want to know. I'm so intrigued on what you got for me, so I
Right.
can give you what I got for you. Because I know I
Right.
got something for you. I got some words for you. I got something. I got a hug for. I got something for you.
Yeah.
What
But
you got for me too? What's
we're
the
in this
exchange? Let's get the exchange
exactly
on.
what's the exchange and how we can start.
Yeah,
We're in this generation where everybody's like, oh, no new friends. I don't want to get to know nobody. Oh, what do you have? Do you have a flashy car? Who are you tied to? Instead of realizing that that person could have something for you that God wants to give to you, but instead you're pushing it back instead of being open to receiving it. So I
absolutely.
agree with you. When I
And a
saw
lot of
your
times,
interview, I was like, you have knowledge for
and a lot of
people.
times. As a people, when you have to still cultivate that relationship, you have to still nurture those relationships. People think that it's not. When I'm saying it right now, I'm saying it loosely, but I still have to cultivate those people and nurture those people and understanding those people. Come to a good understanding of who they are and build a connection with an emotional connection with them. And that's when the gift's been released.
Exactly.
That's when the portal opens. So yeah, I just want to say
I
that.
agree. So, would you say being a father, now you are in full control of these girls?
Yes.
They're relying on you for everything. Daddy,
Hmm.
my hair. Daddy, I'm going
Everything.
through different emotions.
Ooh,
My
you talking
body's
about you
changing,
talking about some stress.
right? Some real stress. So,
You talking about
what,
yeah.
what
That
was
was
that
stress.
like for you? Like being a
Man, I'm sitting
father?
there trying to comb hair, and then you got to remember there is no internet, there's no YouTube at this time. This is 2010, so there's nothing. You're on your own. It's either library and books, or
Yeah,
you got a VHS or a DVD.
that's it. There was no YouTube
There
teaching you
ain't
how
no
to
YouTube
conroll.
University. There was no YouTube where I could have just went how to be a good dad.
Nothing. But now you can
Nothing.
find everything.
So I had to go off of my mind and I had to go off of all the bad examples I had of being a parent and what I saw as a bad example of being a male father figure was. And I had to turn myself into what I didn't want to become.
Mhm.
And that took a lot because everything in my environment was reflecting that energy, that same negative energy. Everybody's drinking, all the men are drinking, all the men are smoking, all the men are chasing women, all the men are doing this. And it's like now that I got two girls, I'm like on the other side. I'm like, hold on.
Yep.
They coming for
Everything
y'all.
that. Yep. Exactly.
So I had to learn how to protect them. And it was hard working and man, working and having kids, especially girls. It was difficult because I didn't want nobody to watch them because I didn't want to give any opportunity for anything to happen. So they were constantly with me. Like to this day, my two little sons, if they can't go, I can't go. And so that's how it worked for me. If I can't bring my kids along, even at work, like I'm not working for you. And so
Yep.
so that's why the hustling was it suited me at that time
Yeah. And I
because
noticed that you said that. You
I
did
was
say
able to
that.
come and go, stop and go. You know, they got early days in school, Wednesdays. You got to get out at 12 o'clock. And I'm like, how you going to work a job and you got to get out? I got to go get my kids. they're gonna get tired of you after a while. And that's what happened. I got lost many jobs trying to just trying to be a good parent. Like I can't even keep a good job because I don't got good babysitters. I don't got quality babysitters. I don't got quality beauticians, hairstylists. I gotta find all this stuff for them now because now they need these things. Because before mom did all that.
Yeah.
And
So
so it
when
was struggle finding people to do the hair, um, paying just everything,
advice.
just being
Mhm.
a parent. Period. Making sure they ate, making sure because it wasn't about me anymore. It was easy when it was just me, but when it was about them, I had to give everything to them, and that I lost myself. I
Really,
lost myself in being a parent because I was so busy being a facilitator of everybody else's needs that I never met any of my own needs. I gave up on all my hopes and dreams and everything, and I just became a parent from that point on. I didn't do no music. I didn't do acting. I didn't do nothing. I let it all go
for them.
for them. And then in 2017, their mom wanted them back, and I was like, we had just went through the whole period thing and going through with my oldest daughter having to go to the door and just knock off all the things in the shelf and throw it in the basket and just go experiment. Go try this, but I don't know. Go try it out. Having to communicate with them about certain things like that they would normally communicate with a female with, and have talking to her about her period and stuff like that because she tried to hide it from me. I was watching doing laundry and I found clothes and stuff like that with stuff on it, and I was like, set her down. Why you didn't come to me, talk to me? She was embarrassed, and it was like I cried. I cried for her because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be the only one doing this. It's supposed to be
Right.
two of us doing this. And I'm at award ceremonies too. I'd be crying. It was tough. It was tough being out there watching other couples, and I'm sitting here with two little girls, and it was hard for me, man. And it made me like not want to be in a relationship, like in a couple, like confinement like that. It made me just want to be to myself at that point. And it was like I didn't find any peace in relationships.
So at
Watching
that
other
point, you
people,
could
and I'm like,
say,
hey, everybody's relationships is fake, and I'm
yeah, yeah.
people ain't being real in these relationships. And I got to be the observer of a lot of relationships because I became a people watcher. I want to know what are they doing that I'm not doing. And I started studying people, like, and it just became an obsession for me to study people, study relationships, study how relationships, and not only that, women are just as bad as men. Like I was getting dogged out by women because I was a single parent. They would just run through me.
Oh, they don't want no man that's a single father.
I mean, they want it, but they just want the idea of it.
Yeah,
Because
the
when they
idea
get
of
it,
it,
it's like
not what
it's
comes
still a
with
lot of
it,
work.
right?
No, then they don't want to be a stepmom.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It takes a person that has a real big heart to be a stepmom, a stepdad. You have to have a
Right.
special type of heart for that.
Right. So I was coming into all different types of relationships. Women with no kids, women with kids. You know what I'm saying? I started having more kids. I had my third daughter in 2014. So as I have two custody with the other two, I had a third kid by another female. And I ended up having to go to court again for custody. Now my daughter, this time she's only 2 years old. I had to go to court for her this time. But this time, instead of me going to court and fight, I'm like, you go do it. Since you don't know what it's like and you understand you really want this that bad, well, you go fill out the paperwork and you take me to court. I'm gonna let you take me to court this time. I'm not even gonna take you because I already know what it feels like to win and go through the whole process, and you don't. So you want to take me through the process? You go fill it out, and I'll meet you there. And she did. And I ended up taking my daughter for like 6 days before I went to court, and they were trying to arrest me. They were trying to do all types of stuff. They put out threats. They said I was a part of a child abduction ring. Man, it was all on the internet. It was all over. It was everywhere. And
So you just said you went to court twice.
I went to court again for my third kid. Now this is my third daughter, and I'm in court, and I find myself in court again for custody.
Now I'm thinking,
So
God really
now,
wanted to show you something.
so now I'm like, this is all bad. This girl is with me knowing that I already went through child custody, right? And now she's like, she's an Aries. I don't know nothing about astrology at this time, but I know I will not deal with no Aries no more. But it was a learning experience. Again, I'm still going through relationship, trying to find myself, still trying to find my purpose. And I meet this girl, and we have a kid, and we going through it. It's about 3 years in. It's 2016 now, and she like, I'm out. But but my daughter never spent the night with me. She never, like, if she came, her mom came. So it was like it was a package deal. So I was like, let me keep her, and she was like, go pay other people to watch her. My aunts and all them would be upset, like, why can't we keep her? Like, so that's why I took her for 6 days. When she said, and that's when I was like, I'm not gonna return. I'll return on my own terms. Like, I'll give her back when I'm ready, when I'm done hanging out with her and spending time with her. They went and did all types of. Her family went and put like signs on all our business. We own like a boxing gyms here in LA, like three or four of them, Ontario Boxing Club. And they put signs saying we were a part of a child abduction ring, and it got
Wow.
crazy. So it went. They put it on the community bulletin saying that I kidnapped my daughter, saying that and now the internet is up. At this time, we got internet now. We got YouTube and everything. So now they're posting all over the internet. My baby mama calls me from Atlanta, like, "Hey, I see you," and they got a death warrant out. They got a hit out for $2,000. Shoot on site on the internet. Yeah, shoot him on site with the baby, without the baby. It didn't matter. They were like, shoot him.
Wow.
So, so I'm like, I go to the police department with my daughter. I take her there. I'm talking to the people. They're not doing anything. They won't give me a restraining order. Nothing. They're mailing paperwork to me from the court and stuff. The family, the mom's family. They're sending glitter bombs blowing up in my aunt's face. It's crazy. They mailed bullets to my house talking about you show up to court. It's on. Put the bullets on the letter. I'm giving all
Okay.
this to the police.
Now I'm
I
like, this
still
this is
can't
a
get a
movie you're
restraining order.
telling me right now.
Man, I try to tell you it's gonna be a wild journey with me on this one.
So
Look,
did you
so this is
win?
the, huh?
Did you win?
No, I did not. I didn't want to win though. That's what I didn't do anything to win. I did nothing. I just sat back and let her do some more. I gave her everything she asked for. So when I get to court finally, she asked me for nothing. She told me she don't want me to visit, no calls, no video chats, no text, no nothing. So I basically signed over 100% of my rights for the daughter at 2 years old. I haven't seen her since. She's like 11 or 9 or something, like 9, I think. She's 9 this year. I haven't seen her in 7 years, but she lives right around the corner from me,
And
like right now.
what are you going to do to change that?
Absolutely nothing.
Why not?
I'm not, because I got to the point where, you know what? I realized that things happen for a reason. And it might have not been her time to be with me at that time or learn from me at that time. And I just accepted it and I just went with it. Like I didn't fight it no more. Um, because in that time I was finding myself finally. I was finally letting the girls go back with their mom. And so it's just me now. I let her go. So now it's just me. Now I'm able to isolate myself and then be at peace. And as soon as that happened, that's when I found out I had cancer. I started having back problems, back spasms, 2017 hits. I started having crazy pains in my spine going from the top to the bottom, my hips, everything. And I'm working out as an MMA fighter and I'm training for my 10th fight and I'm doing 3 times a day workouts. And I'm thinking that, okay, maybe I'm just overexerting myself, overworking out for this fight. So I just immediately just stopped working out and I just rested my body. But in the time of resting, my legs went out. I could barely walk. I started just I started just my energy level started decreasing. Everything started going downhill. My blood pressure went up. I started having high blood pressure. I had got told I had lupus at some point, and they were telling me that. So then this is my brothers came in. My brothers helped me out with that. They were making me drink. They were blending smoothies and stuff. I still didn't know anything about juicing or
Yeah.
anything, veganism. I didn't know nothing about nothing. I just knew sports and I just knew women and kids at this time.
Yeah.
and that's all that was my focus. So
What type of cancer was it?
multiple melanoma on my spine. I had 6 spots on my spine when they did the biopsy, and
And
three of them were active.
what stage was it?
I was at stage 3. I was at stage 3, and then it developed into stage 4 like a month after because I
Wow.
was so
That's
depressed.
rapid.
I was so depressed that I didn't know. I didn't talk to nobody. I isolated myself from every person I knew because at that time everybody was always telling me, "Oh, you just need to relax. You just need to rest. You just need to do this." And everybody's information was all bad. It was now, go to the doctor. It was never go get checked. It was never let me see about you. It was nothing. It was no sympathy, no nothing. It was just, oh, you'll get all right. You'll be all right. You're good. You're a star athlete. You'll be fine. And I tried to brush it off like that too, but until I couldn't, until the
Yep.
pain got so point to the point where it was just like I just was ready to die. I'm not even gonna lie. I was thinking about committing suicide. I had more suicide thoughts than ever at that point. I was gonna do it with a gun this time. Last time I did the pills, I'm like, I already tried that route. That didn't work. So let me go try another route. And actually, I had it all set up. I had already had it. I had got a life insurance policy on myself for $1 million. I had split it up and for all the kids, and I was gonna do it. And I got distracted this day. My uncle, I had never hung out with this uncle ever. He asked me to go, and he kept me with him for like 8 hours this day. And as soon as he got ready to let me go, his daughter called me and asked me to go to the movies with her. And I'm just like, I'm gonna spend time with them because it's gonna be my last night anyways, right? In my mind. It's gonna be my last night on earth. I'm about to dead this tonight. I had a whole plan, I had the gun, everything in my car. They took me away from my car the whole day. They kept me away from they didn't even know, they didn't even have so I know there was something working in my favor always.
So this
And
was
when I
like the first time when God sent the
with
person
my
in
neighbor
your
to the
neighbor,
house.
and
Yeah.
now this is his protection, sending people to distract you from what you're planning to do.
Yes, so my cousin, I'm talking to her in the midst of we go see this movie called War Room. I'm thinking it's some war movie, right? We go there and it's this whole Christian movie about this woman in the closet fighting for her husband and praying and made her
Oh, I
closet her
watched
war
that.
room.
I loved it.
I'm in that motherfucking movie theater crying because I'm like, what the hell am I doing in here? This ain't it. This is turning me off from where I'm supposed to be going to do after this movie.
Yeah.
And I sit there and I just cried. I looked at my cousin. I told her, I was like, man, I think you just saved my life. I was about to go kill myself. And I just told her everything. I just broke down in the theater and told her everything. And she just hugged me and held me. And then she was like, I'm not letting you go nowhere. She made me stay at her. She actually made me move in with her.
Wow.
Yeah. She made me move in with her. And I lived with her for about 4 or 5 months. And it
Purpose
was
can't.
wonderful.
You ever heard out of purpose can't die?
Man, and I'm understanding that. The more and more, the longer that I'm here, I'm definitely understanding that.
Yeah, purpose can't die. So when you found out you had cancer, you go to the doctor, they tell you you got to start chemo, you got to do this, you got to do that, and I know that you
So
did start chemo.
So the first thing that they do when they call me, I'm already not trying to go down there. I went to the hospital the first time and they told me they did the MRIs, the X-rays and stuff like that, and they told me they can't treat me at that facility. They have to send me to a specialist to really see what's going on. And there was no biopsy at this time. So when I go see the specialist, I have to hide it from my family. I'm in an Uber. I had to I'm using my uncle's crutches to get around. I stole his little crutches, so nobody,
Yeah.
and I'm using that to get around so nobody can see that I'm going through anything. I don't want my family to know nothing. I don't want them to feel sorry for me. I didn't want anybody to feel anything for me. I just wanted to go through this on my own.
On your
I
own.
feel like it's something that I needed to go through on my own, away from everybody, because I felt like it was all fake love anyways from my family at that time. I don't feel like they was really, really like supportive of me. I feel like they just wanted to utilize me because everybody utilizes my energy to take, but they don't know how to pour back into me. They just want me to work and to do this and to fill in the gaps in the family businesses and fill in the gaps for this. But it's like that's just taken from me. There's nothing else that I'm getting back in return from doing all these things from them. And so it was like I had to get away from them too. Because I needed to be around things. I needed to be in an environment where there was a complete balance, where there was a give and take.
Right.
Because and started understanding that I had to make better choices because I just been recklessly just running into relationships and just allowing it to just be whatever it is and not having no type of structure and organization in it. And yeah, I think that I don't know. Go ahead, next.
So you went through your chemo, but at some point you stopped.
Okay, so when they first gave me, they first, oh, okay, this is what I was gonna say. So when I got there, after I did the biopsy, and they had all the results and everything. They had a whole plan together, a whole structured plan of how they wanted to go through this and how they wanted to see it all the way through to the end.
Hmm.
And I was like, how did you come up with this plan without even talking to me, without even communicating to me what I've been going through out here in these streets? Because I wanted them to know what I've been going through so they can understand how to help me better. But they're not even trying to hear my story. They're not even trying to hear my nothing. They're just like, this is what we're gonna do. This is what it is. Are you ready? No, I'm not
That's
ready. So
it.
I left there and I didn't do anything. And I'm like, no. So then I go back because I'm still having the pain got worse. It got to the point where I'm barely walking now. I can't walk like at all. Like I'm having a hard time going to the bathroom. I'm peeing in bottles and in containers and having to roll over and poop in a plastic thing on the side of me and wipe myself. Like with
Wow.
being in pain doing that, it was the most, and I had to hide that from my family. I mean, I had to crawl to the garage and do it all in the garage, and then get back in there, act like nothing's wrong with me. And then I started taking steroids. I had my cousin come home. I'm like, man, I'm not. Let's try this. It gave me strength before. Let me get this strength. Let me try. So I started taking anabolic steroids for athletes, and it got me, man, it got me up. I was able to start walking a little bit better, walking, and then at that point, in my mind, I said, now that I'm up, there is nothing that's gonna stop me from coming back down. That's gonna put me back down like that ever again. And I'm gonna do everything in my power to protect this spaceship because I don't know how long I'm gonna have to be with it. Every time I try to leave it or do something with it, I'm stuck with it. So I had to understand that I gotta figure out what this is now. What is this thing that I'm stuck in that I can't leave and I can't shake until I in this environment? No, this is my transportation vehicle. And so I started looking at it like a car. I can't keep going to all these other mechanics to work on my car when I'm supposed to be I'm the one that knows exactly what's wrong with it. I'm the one putting the fuel in it. I'm the one giving it all the things. So I had to be the number one person that understood what was going on with it. And that's when I started studying the technologies of the body, understanding what the fingernails is, hair root plexus, understand what hair is and how it's an antenna and how it's a communicator and a conductor of energy and all these things and how your nails is like it's like taking a shot. When you touch stuff, it connects antibodies for you to be able to create antibacterials for your body to fight off the things in your environment. But if you're taking shots and stuff, you're bypassing those systems and going straight into the bloodstream, and then you can get any type of disease from that
Right.
because there's no way for the body to fight it off once it's injected into you. So I was against all the injections. I was like, no injections, never, never, never. And everything they wanted to do was radiation, chemo. So I started taking the pills. I took the pills for about a month and a half, and the pills were not making me any better. And I'm like, what's the point of taking something if it's only making me worse? I was starting to throw up more. I started feeling losing my hair, so I cut my hair all the way off. I went bald immediately. Like, let me just get it over with.
Yeah.
Let me get it over with. And I'm throwing up daily now running. I'm still working out. I'm starting to work out a little more, but I'm throwing up like all the time. Like it's bad. And I just kept fighting. I just kept fighting. I didn't want to see nobody see me down. I didn't want no one to see me down. And that was my biggest drive was I don't want nobody to see me at my weakest point.
You wanted to stay strong and show them that you're Shaka Zulu and you
I'm the
ain't
same person that
nobody.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And it was a struggle because I was still surrounded by I was still in the same environment of all these people, unhealthy people,
But they
and
were
I had to.
there. You wouldn't let them in.
No, 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 no,
And
no.
that's
I
another
would
thing that
not.
we have to do, because remember, you're talking about being able to connect with people. We got to
Hmm.
be able to let people in and let them see that we need them, because
Yes.
same thing, if you're pulling from me, I got to be able to pull from you.
Right.
If I'm fueling you up, you got to be able to recharge me too when I need that.
Yes, 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 yes. And at that time, those people were just taking. They only wanted me to work, 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 work. Family wanted me to work for them, do this, everything. And it was like there was no time to heal. There was no time for me to have time with myself to even take the pill, take the pill, take the pill. Fuck the pill. At the point,
So at that point,
then I started understanding chemicals, and I started understanding what do they mean by how is something labeled a poison, and we don't understand why they give stuff a label as a poison or. And so I understood what poison is. Poison is anything that goes against an organic system. So anytime you put anything, any type of chemical, a man-made chemical into an organic being, it becomes poison because it's starting to kill it at some point, whether it's a
right.
slow death or a fast death. And so I started eliminating things that were that had chemicals in them. So I had to start reading labels. I had to start reading the labels on everything I put in my body. I wanted to understand everything I put in my body. I started understanding the words on the labels. What do these words mean? Looking them up, defining. If I can't understand the word, I can't read the word, I don't even want to think about touching it. And I started just eliminating things from my life. I didn't want to add nothing. I felt like I had already added too much. So I just wanted to start eliminating things so that I could get back to who I became when I first came here. All these things have been kept getting piled up on top of my special. And I had to start removing these things so that I could get back to my special. Because the more I remove, the more I was starting to find myself, and then it was starting to become fun for me. And so that's when I decided I'm gonna go to Mexico because I can't find no clean fruit here, and I can't find. And that's when I first ran into my wife too. I ran into her through my cousin, and
That's the love story I want to hear next. But what you were saying about, reading things and research, it's important because even like me, growing up, our parents used to buy certain products for our hair, not knowing what the heck's in there. We're wondering,
just
why is our
just
hair
use it.
so dried out? Why does it look like this? Why is it like it's not working? I can't tame it. Not realizing all these words that we can't even pronounce. Why are we putting it in our body? Why are we eating it?
Right.
Why are we putting it on our skin? And listen, I have sensitive skin. If I use anything on my face, unfamiliar, even familiar at some point, my
Mm-hmm.
face completely tomorrow morning looks like I'm bleaching my skin. Here will be
Mm.
black, black, light, like rashes.
Mm.
And I'm like, the best thing for my face is water.
Right.
So
Coconut
it's
water.
so that's an important thing that you said. We gotta research the things that we're putting into our body and putting on our body. At some point, we
Absolutely.
gotta wake up and stop just doing it because everybody says try it. What's best
So
for your body,
absolutely. And so I understood at that point, like just because they call it food does not mean it's our food.
right?
And I had to understand, well, what is our food? Because everybody else's cultures have their own food. But then when you study the African Americans, we don't have our own nothing. We don't have our own country. We don't have our own place of nothing. We're the only ones in the mixing pot that are just stuck here in America. Everybody else has a homeland they can go to when things get bad for them here in America.
Mhm.
Africans, Africa. Japanese, Japan.
Jamaica,
Chinese, China.
Jamaica.
Jamaicans go to Jamaica. Exactly. Y'all even got a place.
Yeah.
What
So
is an
that's when
African
you
American? And I'm
right?
studying what is every, and then I realized it's a brand. And then I realized I'm just a product here. So then I'm like, okay, that's cool. Now that I understand the game, now I can understand I can be the best product here. Because without me, nothing seems to exist in this land, in this realm. Not the people that sent to me, the people that I've created. All of that is designed because I have light.
Right.
And so once I understood that, then I'm like, okay, when I was in the drug game, when I was hustling, I couldn't promote my products to everywhere and everybody because you go to jail. So I realized I'm the best product because I could take me anywhere and I could sell me anywhere to anyone and anybody at any given time and it'd be okay. So I just made myself the best product to promote and I just promoted me. And I just made myself the best product I could possibly make. And I was cleansing my body, cleansing my mind, cleansing my spirit, and becoming whole again.
And that's when you went to Mexico.
Mexico, yes. I found my way into Mexico because I understood that the laws in Mexico they do not allow you to put chemicals in the produce. They do not allow you to put chemicals in the meats. It's against the law. So I was like, oh, that sounds like heaven to me.
Yep.
That sounded like somewhere I needed to be. And I couldn't even get a passport because of the child custody thing. So the daughter that I have, that I lost, the 2-year-old that I had to give up all my rights to, they put me on child support like immediately. Cause I didn't tell you in that case, I ended up having to sue them for all the slandering and defamation of character. So I was the second biggest case on the internet for slandering and defamation of character on the internet
I'm gonna
in
find
the
that and
United
post it
States.
up so I can
So
show
you can
you
look
guys.
that up. I sued my baby mama and 7 members of her family, and I won
Wow.
35,000.
Well, congratulations.
But I mean, in the midst of all that, I lost my daughter. But it was like I had to do something. That was my fight back. Was like, all right, I'm gonna just take it out on them. I'm gonna take it out on the mom and dad because they want to keep putting my name out in the streets. So I'm gonna make, and that just made it harder for her. So I was like, it was a game at that point, and it was like, who gonna win this game? My family's arguing with her. It was like Romeo and Juliet, the actual movie in real life.
Oh gosh. I'm
Yeah,
glad
it
that
was.
you're over
And
that though.
everybody
So
in the community knew about it. It was a big thing in our city, in our town. It's a big thing. Like everybody knows about it. Like to this day, they talk about it because they
wow.
put so many flyers up and so many. They went to the school district. My cousin worked at the school district, and they put it all on the cars in the parking lot, all over the. Yeah, so it was bad,
Yeah. I'm glad that you guys got over that though, because
but we
it's not
definitely
for the
did. It
big.
took 2 years, so we finished it up in 2017. That's when it all ended, and
Yeah.
I was free from all of everything. So I was like, I got to celebrate. My celebration was Mexico.
So
I'm not
wait,
against.
when you went to Mexico, you stopped your chemo and you decided to go to Mexico for natural
I had,
remedies.
yes. First, I went to this clinic in Tijuana, and it was a holistic cancer center. It's called it's called what is it? Tijuana's Holistic Center. And I looked it up. I googled it. I went down there. I talked to people on the phone. I went down there and I saw what they were doing. I never let them did anything to me. They were doing a lot of stem cell treatments there, and I didn't know anything about stem cell treatments. I had heard about it in jail. I went to jail one time, and it was I had a bunkmate in jail, and he had got shot in his back, so his legs was paralyzed, and he would get blood clots in his legs. So I was in jail massaging this man's legs and helping him get the blood clots out, and I learned about stem cells. He told me he went through stem cells to get one of his legs to work after he got out of the jail. He called me like I got one of my legs to work and I went through the stem cell treatment plan. So I took all that information and I started looking for that and I found that. And then I was like, that's not the route I want to go though. I want to do it more natural than that.
Yeah.
So I got the information from I seen what they were feeding them and I was like, they're only feeding them fruits. They're only feeding them fruits and probiotics and stuff, just stuff that just healthy gut to get the gut clean and to cleanse out. A lot of people were overweight, and I was like one of the smallest people in there. I was only like 170 pounds at that time, 180 pounds, something like that. Most of the people in there were super obese, super big going in there. So they were doing gastric bypasses and the neighboring places and all that. I was just like, it was a lot of different stuff around that environment that I was not. I was trying to get away from that too, and it was like so. I decided at that point, I'm gonna go and just do it just raw, just straight raw, no cooked foods, no nothing.
Hmm.
Just and then I'm gonna stick to one fruit only, and then my one fruit was coconuts. I picked coconuts because I realized that the water in the coconut is the closest thing to the black woman's breast milk, and it has all the essential everything that it has that a woman's breast milk gives a child. And so when I understood that, I'm like, this is probably gonna be the best thing for me. And I was just led to it. It was like, it was just my calling at that time. I think try the coconuts, and it was just like coconuts and lime was delicious. Eating the jelly, waking up every day on that beach, and just sitting on that
That
beach
must
every
have been
day.
really nice, being in the sunlight,
It
the
was because we were so far
atmosphere.
down, and we were so far down south in Mexico by Belize. When we drove there, and it was crazy. It was a journey just driving through Mexico and understand because so many people had so many scared stories to tell us about it, and so many people were trying to turn us away from going to Mexico.
Yeah.
That in itself is a story. So many people were scared, and then at the time, like I said, I didn't have a passport, so I was doing this already just off of what if it's for me, everything's gonna be provided and it's gonna be a clear path,
Right.
and I had
Before
to
you work out.
trust. I had to trust that everything was going to be set before me beforehand. And so what I did was I prepared myself mentally and spoke it that the path would be paid for me before I got there. And it did. And it was like the border, nobody was at the border when I drove through the border. Not a person. Normally you got to
Wow.
check your car in. You got to do all that when you go through the border. There was nobody even there to check the car in or nothing. We just drove right on through.
That tells you the power of the tongue and faith
Yes, because I
and how
was
you
willing to go
believe.
there. I was going to go there even if I had to give them all of my clothes and walk across the border naked. I will give America everything back that they have to offer me. I will go there naked. I will walk across. You cannot hold me.
Yeah.
That's how my mindset. I was like, I'm gonna try to figure out how to use that, how to get around in this world without a passport. And before we went to Mexico, we learned that you can get on a plane without a passport and go to another country. You just have to be in that country. Like with Mexico, you drive to TJ, and if you go across that border, you're now domesticated. So now you can fly with just the ID. So what I did was I
Okay.
caught a bus, took me to the airport, and now I'm in Tijuana. So now they have to honor my ID. They're giving me the hardest time, but like I said, my path was already paid for me.
Yeah.
I took no for an I didn't take no for an answer. There was nothing they could tell me to not get on that plane, and I got on that plane.
And you know what? That's it sometimes, right? A lot of people probably listen to your story and be like, he's bullshitting. That ain't true. You didn't go to Mexico, you didn't heal, but this is your story.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
that's where faith and belief comes. A lot of people won't believe the story, but believe what you
But see, they
feel.
see me in Mexico. I made sure they saw me in Mexico. I made sure I made a point for everybody to know I'm here and I made it.
Yeah. And it worked for you. That treatment worked for you. You are cancer free.
I did that for a year and a half before I went back and got checked again. I wanted to make sure that like my body was in so much good shape. I was working out on the beach every day, running. Like I literally didn't leave the beach. I woke up and I'm on the beach. I'm naked half the time, just a towel on, just sitting there all day. When as soon as I get up, I'm climbing coconut trees with a backpack on, dropping them in there. Go back to
Yep.
my tent, cut them open, scrape it out, eat it, drink it. That's the meals for the day. And then like towards my end of my trip, I started going further and further down the beach or for longer and longer walks. And I found watermelons growing in the beach, in the sand. I found a whole patch of watermelons on the beach growing in the sand. I'm like, maybe first I'm like, somebody must have left these here. But no, when I grabbed them, they were rooted.
Wow.
And so I'm cutting up all these, I'm cutting them all out. I'm taking all of them. I'm throwing them in my bag.
And then you
I'm in there.
started eating them. Yeah.
What? I ate all the watermelons, the rinds, because it was the watermelons were so juicy and so fresh that even the green part tastes sweet.
Yep.
And it had a saltwater taste to it because it was grown in the sand of the beach. So it had like a salty sweetness to it, and it was just the best watermelon. Then I found cantaloupes. I was in a tree pulling coconuts down. I look over, I said, "Hey man, that look like cantaloupe." I hop down, I run over there real fast. I'm like, man, these is cattle, same thing. They were
Yep.
just there, like in the ground growing. Like, I'm like, what are the odds of that?
Listen, your environment changes everything.
It
Your
did, it did.
environment changes how you grow, how you heal, and how your body responds to things that we're going through. And I
And
like to say it because I can understand what you're saying because when I went to Jamaica, I have vertigo.
okay, okay.
When I went to Jamaica, my vertigo did not bother me not one bit.
Mm,
Not one bit. My ears weren't ringing. I wasn't feeling dizzy when I woke up. Things I was eating wasn't bothering because it was natural.
right, 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 right,
So
right.
I understand what you mean when you your environment. Your
And
story is
I gave up on clothes when I was out there too. That was another thing I did. I didn't wear much of nothing.
yeah.
I literally was getting in trouble by the police and everything. Like I no shoes. I didn't have no. I gave away my shoes, every pair of them. I
Wow.
gave them away and I walked around barefoot because I wanted to be connected like the animals. God, I wanted my node. These are nodes. The bottom of your hands and the bottom of your feet are called nodes. That's why they look like this because they're receivers of energy. That's
Hmm.
why you can touch a tree. You can touch somebody. That's why you don't let everybody touch you because you don't know what their energy is and what their purpose is. And
You just said something.
so
You
that
don't
I
let
became a
everybody
tree
touch
hugger,
you.
I became a
Yep.
tree hugger. I started hugging trees and just becoming one with nature and I just embodied the environment. I embodied it to the 100% of my abilities and I just became one with it. I just married it. It was like a relationship. I had a relationship and it became a lifestyle for me. At that point, it was no longer I can go back to doing what I used to do. At
Yeah.
this point now, this is who I am now. That's when I became Shaka Zulu, like, and I embodied the name, like, and I'm like, I'm out here, I'm a warrior, I'm on it,
Yep.
I'm on this
So
journey, and I'm gonna build my people up in this.
so
This is
now
my
that
way.
you're cancer free, you went through your process. You tried a different healing method for you. What would you tell somebody who's going through that? Maybe they're already going through chemo. They just found out they had cancer.
What I would tell somebody, I would just say, do your research, understand the technologies of the body, understand how your body functions, how it operates at its optimum prime, and what it takes to get it to its optimum prime. And once you get it there, keep it there, and make that your lifestyle.
Great advice. Great advice. Now, you are Shaka Zulu. Let's get to that love story because you mentioned that you didn't want no relationships after having kids and doing it on your own. You didn't want a relationship. Everything just looked fake to you. Everybody's wearing a mask.
Absolutely.
How did you meet your wife, especially when you were battling cancer? How did that happen for you?
Okay. So my cousin was dating her sister, right? They're identical twins. The girls are. And
Okay.
my cousin has an identical twin too. So his identical twin did not want to go hang out with them. So he came to my house and begged me, and I'm in pain and everything still. And he knows this, but he's like, just come out with. I just want you to get out of the house. He really just wanted to get me out and to get me to go do something. And so he was like, I got these girls, and he came over like five girls in the car, and they're all like, no, you gotta come, you gotta get out of the house, come on. And I'm just like, no, I'm dying.
You're so silly.
Even in the midst of this, I always find ways to laugh about it because that's the healing in it. It's
Yep.
being able to laugh about it because I went through so much trauma, so much pain, so much crying, so much of everything, and it's just like, you know what? Now I'm so at peace with myself, with my choices. Every choice that I make, I get some type of benefit out of it. So I'm just at peace, and I would say just be at peace with self. Love self. Find different ways to love on yourself. Like for me, I make sure I brush my skin. I make sure I facials. I make sure I do my nails. I make sure I cut my toes. I make sure I scrub my. I take care. I spend more time with this.
Pampering yourself. Yep.
Yes, I spend more time taking nurturing my body, nurturing myself because I don't know how long I'm gonna be with it. And so that's my number one thing is I don't know how long I'm gonna be here with this body, so I'm gonna keep it as perfect as I can for as long
So
as I can.
your beautiful wife now, she was okay with going through that process with you. She stood when you first met her. Did you tell her about your?
I did not tell her. No, no. And she's just like, why you don't want to be in a relationship? Why you don't want to? And I'm just like, man, I'm going through some things. And I didn't tell her till later. I didn't tell her till like we were already in Mexico.
Was
And
she
she's
mad at
like,
you?
no, no, no. She was not. She was the writer. She
Yeah.
wanted to come. Like she literally like her last year and her senior year in college, she was like, all right, after this, I'm done. So I spent her senior year with her on campus, living in campus, working out with the college in Nevada University. And I started helping other people with cancer at the schools. And there's other local trauma centers that were right there, cancer centers too. And I started working out with those people and bringing them to the track and just walking with those people and just talking with those people, listening to their stories and what they did to get through it. And those stories helped me as well. Those people, and I started hearing people talk about urine therapy. There was a few people who had cancer that were doing urine therapy, and they were like harvesting their own urine for weeks and months, and then they would drink it and they put it on their
Ah.
hair and they're washing in their baby. So I took on that and I researched that urine therapy thing, and that took me into a whole other thing. My wife was not with me on that one. That's the only thing that I did on my journey that she was not with. She was
I'll
like,
tell you a
nah, nigga.
funny thing.
She was like, nah,
When
bro,
I was
you on your own.
that urine thing, it's funny because my aunt, when I was younger, she would tell us the best thing for acne was your urine.
Urine, yeah, wash your face with it. And they
Yes, and
tell you
I was
for
like,
athletes'
ugh.
feet, they would always say pee on your feet.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we find gross, but don't knock it until you try it because a lot of things that are inside our body will heal the exterior of our body. So we,
Exactly. And to add to that, I did my research and I realized that how much pee is in medications. How much human urine is in medications.
look at my
There's a
face.
lot. Yeah, there's certain medications that they use that they use human urine in.
Wow.
And so they're using it. They're just not using it at a high level. They're just not using. They're not telling you the full because they also tell you that if you drink your pee, you'll be dehydrated and you'll die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I did it for 10 days straight. That's
Wow.
as long as my family and my friends will allow me to do it because they were on my head. They were
Like,
like, you're
stop it,
weird.
Shaka.
They were like, no, you losing us with this one.
Yeah.
But I was on it. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't think it was gonna work. I didn't think I was gonna have any effect, but my fingernails grew so long, my hair started growing again, and in those 10 days, I started seeing the changes immediately in my urine, and my pee, and my poop. My stool went from brown to that bright orange, like when children, because I didn't eat anything. I just did my urine.
Come on,
You know,
Shaka.
when you
TMI. TMI.
when you now they got to get all this. They got to get all this. Look, when I was pooping, it was bright orange. Like when a baby first poops, their poop is like bright orange. There's nothing in it, and that's how I got my body so clean and got to that state and that point. And I was just so like, I'm a baby again. I'm so clean. But I understood that when you get up here in your crown chakra and you really activated in it, you got to be careful because you can be overactivated,
Yeah.
and you can really like lose yourself in that. And I had to find myself in that too as well. And I had to love myself and not be over judgmental to people who weren't eating the way that I'm now eating.
Just
Because
gotta
I was being
educate them.
very judgmental. I was on everybody's head. Like, get away, put it down. Ah, ah, you're gonna die.
Yeah, yeah. Because now that you're cleansing your body, you're trying to protect them, but you gotta just educate them and give them
Yes,
time to
yes, yes. I just
wanna,
plant the seed and I learned to plant the seed and
yeah,
keep it moving. Plant the
and
seed
then
and
they'll
keep it moving.
buy
You
into what
can't
you're
heal
saying.
everybody. You can't heal them all.
Exactly. So you tried love again. You're happily
Yes.
married. You got more children, doing life.
So
I
we had our first. We actually we had we had just started dating right before we went to Mexico, so we had known each other for about 6 months. We were talking, but we were just hanging out. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't kick. I would just be hang out. We would just talk, just sit and talk, and I would just tell her all my stories and everything going on with me and everything. And then that's when we decided to go to Mexico. So it was a lot of talking and building in that relationship that I never did with any other woman. I got to actually know who she was before the relationship, before it was getting to know them in the relationship. So that
Yeah.
was my first time taking my time in a relationship and really cultivating the relationship, the emotional connection that we had. And with that, she didn't want to leave me. She didn't want to be nowhere. And I was trying to get rid of her. I tried so many times. I tried to tell her I didn't want a relationship. She was like, nah, wherever you go, I go.
I go. Now
And I and
give
I
us
put it
some
to the test because
relationships.
I hop on the plane and she booked her ticket too.
Okay. Now
So
for
yeah.
the people that are having, like, everybody keeps saying there's doo-doo in the dating pool. What advice would you give people right now that are looking for a partner, like a bond that you and your wife have?
Okay, so the first thing you would do is you got to find yourself before you can develop a relationship. You have to develop a relationship with self. And that's what I was doing before I met her. I was developing my relationship with myself so that I could be prepared to be able to deal with somebody else's issues, somebody else is coming into me, and to take that on after having so many toxic relationships. This was like the first time I found peace with somebody. And it wasn't a competition between us. I felt like all my other relationships was a competition because she was trying to find herself and just being attaching herself to what I had already going on.
Hmm.
And a lot of times I see in relationships that it's one person has something going on, the other person doesn't, and they tend to look at that other person in a different light because they don't have that thing that they have for themselves yet. They haven't created that niche for themselves that gives them their self-worth.
Right.
So I say find yourself, find your purpose, and then you'll develop that with somebody who's on that same path as you. Because that's what the thing is with us, it's we're on the same path. Like if we were gonna raise our kids the same, we had the same mindset, and it was just like she wanted to raise her kids homeschooling them. She wanted to raise them organically. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, man, this is what I'm trying to do right now. And it was the first person that allowed me to be able to have full control of how I wanted to raise them.
You guys were
She
equally.
allowed me to have that full force, like however you want to raise them, let's raise them like this, because this makes the perfect sense to me too. And it was
Equally
just
yoked.
exactly. We were on the same page. Find somebody that you're going in the same direction with, because if you guys are going different directions, you guys are gonna eventually separate. There's gonna be a disconnection.
Right. And for our listeners that are, they've have similar stories to you, trying to heal, trying to get their mind right, not around the right environment. People, how do they start their healing journey? Because you have a tremendous story being in the streets, going through toxic relationships, toxic baby moms, fighting for your children, going through
Yeah.
cancer, being successful now, being Shaka Zulu.
Right. I would just, to me, it's be at peace on your with life, because one thing about it that I learned on this journey as well is nothing is ever against you. Everything is always for you and working in your benefit. It's just the mindset that we have. We think that everything is against us. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's amazing. Now, ooh, I see you doing some tremendous things. You completely did a 360, hearing your story, all the battles you went through, the test, the growing process, the pains, the trials. Look at you. First, I want to know, how did you get the name Shaka Zulu? Was that what your parents named you Shaka
That's
Zulu?
what my parents named me. My parents allowed their African friends to name me and my brothers. My dad only has 3 kids. He has 3 boys. He has Zaire, Kinsasha, and Imija and Shaka. That's they like all our names are mixed in like that. My brother's
Okay,
name
so,
is
so that
Zaire
is your
Kinsasha.
real name. All
We
right.
all got African names, yes. And then I realized, like, dang, like I didn't even know how they did it like that, but we all got crazy African names.
The powerful name it is. Now, I
And
see that you recently did an event.
I
Tell
did
us
a
about that
thing.
event you just did.
Okay, so I was invited by Harold LaFay to his juicing tour, and he heard my story just as similar as you did on the internet, and he was intrigued, and he invited me on tour with him to be at one of the speakers on his tour, and we did it on June 1st in Charlotte, North Carolina. The next one is in Atlanta on the 8th. It'll be June 8th in Atlanta. So I hope to see some people at the Juicing for Life tour there with Harold LaFay. You got R. Kelly's ex-wife is gonna be there at that one. A few other celebrities will be at that one as well. But the Juicing for Life tour in Charlotte, North Carolina was wonderful. It was a great outcome. We had about 150 people show up. Everybody got to try different types of juices. We raffled off a juicer to the winners. It was just a lot of fun, man. I was just grateful to be able to tell my story again, because again, that was my first time being able to tell it in front of a big group of people. And I was nervous. I ain't gonna lie, I was super nervous. But the questions that the people were asking me, and Harold, how he had conducted the interview, it was just peaceful, and it allowed me to open up and to express myself freely and to be at peace with the uh, with the event.
Amazing. You didn't have any idea this is where you're gonna be, eh?
No, no, no. And now I'm doing interview after interview. Like I got another one tomorrow.
Amazing. From 16 to
Yeah.
being a international speaker.
Yes. There we go. I
Can you
received
imagine?
that. I received that.
You're international speaker. You're about to be touring the world and you need to receive it because it's
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yours.
I do receive that. Yes.
You
Yes.
had to go through all of this for your now because you are a roadmap for other people, other men that are
I'm
going
grateful.
through things, people
And I'm
that want
grateful
to
that
do
you
it.
see that as a woman, because that's my biggest thing is like, dang, do women see this?
We see it. Trust me. Even if they don't say anything, they see it and they admire it. And that was the first thing I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I need to get him. Shaka, you better respond.
Oh yeah, man. You see, I'm good at responding, man. Because you know what? One thing I don't want to miss the opportunity. I
Yeah,
miss so many in my life now. Like I feel like I just need to seize every opportunity, and I take my time with everything, and I take one meeting at a time.
I appreciate you, King. Now, any other events coming up other than the juice?
The juicing tour. I got a lot of music coming out. I just formulated a group called Three of Them, and
Three of
it's
them. Okay.
three of them, and it's three different artists. Me and two other independent artists. We come together and we put a project together. It's gonna be 9 songs, and we'll release it one song at a time. And then at the end of the whole 9 songs, we'll release the album, and it's gonna be crazy. The
So you
music
have
is
some.
great.
So you have some new music coming out.
I have some new music coming. I have an album that's already out as well, already right now out called Shock Therapy, and it's like a journey of my life and my stories and my adventures. And the whole album is dope. You got to check it out. Called Shock Therapy. It's on every music streaming platform you can find, from Amazon Music to YouTube Music to Spotify, TikTok. I'm on TikTok with it. I'm on everything with it. So, and my
So
album's
so
doing great. I already got 12,000 streams in like a few months. So I'm doing great with the music.
so before you go, Shaka, you have to sing a little something for us now.
Sing.
You're gonna have to show us your vocals now.
Oh, I don't
You
sing.
can't.
I'm a rapper. I'm more
Okay.
rap. I do
Well,
more
then
rap.
you gotta show our listeners what you got. Come spit a beat for us.
Okay. I got something for you. I got something for you. All right. They say, Shock, where you been at? Circumvent the globe. Been all around the world like I'm Harlem Globetrotting. I'm all about a profit. No habla inglés if you ain't talking profit. This big money business. 5 years gone, but the flow still relentless. Never ease up, shawty. I'm so in this. Killing all these rappers, yes, can I get a witness? Mr. Mausoleum, yeah, the flow so deadly. I'm bodying all the rappers, I'm bodying all these rappers till the Reaper come and get me. So don't tempt me. That's all I got. That's all I
Love
got
it.
on the fly for you.
And you're sweating.
I'm sweating because I'm nervous.
Love it. I pray
I
that
can't see the
everything.
people. I got to be able to connect. I got to look at eyes. I got to see if they feeling me.
They're feeling it. We're feeling it. We love it.
Okay, as long as you feeling me, Jen, I'm happy. You invited me. I'm your guest. As long as you feeling me, I'm good.
Seriously, thank you for being my guest. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being present. And thank
Hey,
you for
man.
accepting your calling because that's not easy. Picking up the phone and saying, I'm ready,
Right, right, right.
I'm accepting, I'm receiving it, I'm going to be in it authentically and full is
Yes.
hard because sometimes it's lonely.
Yes, yes, it is. Because I got to
And
sit here.
sometimes we want to give up and just live of the world, and just forget it all. But you're doing it and
Absolutely.
not for
Because
yourself.
it was easier not to tell my story. You know, it's hard to tell your story, and because people get to critiquing you, they get to talking, they get in the comments, and it gets crazy in those comments sometimes.
Listen,
And a lot of people get derailed just from reading comments. So for me,
yeah.
I don't even look at comments no more. I just keep doing me and keep moving forward. And those who are for me are going to be for me. And I'm just collecting people at this point. Tribe Zulu is what I'm building.
And that's what I've been learning. Don't read the comments. Don't even
Don't read the
bother going to
comments.
the comment section at all.
You got to be strong to read the comments. You got to
You,
have a hard, solid heart.
you got to put all your emotions in a box
Yeah,
and ship it out.
because then people are ruthless on the
Oh,
internet. I
if
promise you,
they're
they were.
ruthless. But I've learned that,
Yeah,
if you have time to leave a negative comment, there's clearly something in you that's
absolutely,
disturbing you, while you have something negative to say about us that are doing God's
absolutely.
work.
Listen,
So,
and I just want to give all praises to God, for this whole interview and everything, man. All praises to the Most High. It's bigger than me. I'm just a beacon of light here, and I'm just a reflection of the source. And
yep.
I'm just here to share my to share my story, and to just share it with whoever wants to listen.
Guys, thank you for tuning in with me, your girl, Jen Simpson, on the Life's Deceit podcast. Don't forget, before you exit this video, to like, leave a comment, share with a friend, or anybody you think this video will touch. And don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, I'm Jen Simpson.
Phenomenous. Coldink.